To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches into mushes. Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of Make It in Dubai. This is me, Vignesh, and you have Shivank. Actually, the way we laid out, I think Shivank will be either this side or he'll be this side. So, wherever he is, say
No,
what.
it's 10 and 10 at night, so you can be whichever side you want, bro.
So, Shiv, today I think we should help the youngsters out a bit, man, because we actually got few DMs. One
Uh-huh.
might be my brother, but yeah, we actually got a few DMs asking, how can we find a job or what else can we do? What is the right approach to even finding a job? So I don't want to get into that because see, if I have to get into that, then it'll be you advising people into exactly what industry this that gets too much. But what I can say is we'll give our stories of how our internship was, right? How did we intern in Dubai? What did I see? What did Shiv see? How did he get that internship? How did I get this internship? What is the whole point of doing an internship in Dubai and what you as youngsters should be looking out for when you're doing that internship, right? I think this would be a good aspect to cover because then when you get into an internship, you would know exactly what to do. So I
Yeah.
think that would be a nice start. What do you think, Shiv?
Yeah, it's like we've been there, done that kind of stuff, right? So it's more
Yeah,
like
I don't want to go back to fucking interning, bro. I'm done. I'm done.
this is sort of reflection, right? We'll reflect on what has happened. It'll be
Yeah, I think now
interesting,
we
I
can
think.
look back and they say right now it looks painful, but in the future you can look back and laugh at it. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you are
Plus,
right.
I have no clue about your internship as well, right? I'm not sure if you have complete understanding of what I went through, so it'll be nice to,
Yeah, I
you
think that's one part of our lives. I think we don't know about each other. Your internship and my internship, right? But
know.
I think, see, I know that you work for bigger companies, and I know the way you got into internships was pretty interesting. So I think you
Yeah,
should start this off
yeah,
because today is gonna be all you, brother. So start
yeah,
this
yeah.
off. Let them
It's just
kids know how what they can do different to
more
get it.
like we talk about future all the time and what you're trying to make. But yeah, this is a good time to reflect and see.
Yeah, there's a good time for them to know exactly what to do, what we did to reach where we are at. So yeah, you can start.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Fine, yeah. I'll go ahead, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
so
So talk about how you got the internship, what happened there, how it was, what these guys can learn from you, all that kind of stuff.
okay, okay, fine. So what I'll do is so I'll give a bit of background of how exactly I was academically. So, because I believe that will be pretty not inspiring, but I'll give some reality check before we set expectations.
I'm not gonna fucking do that.
We'll
I'm
make
not
you do
doing
that as
that.
well. Don't worry, yeah. Because so yeah, just to give a background to you guys. So I'm academically mediocre. Okay. Why are you laughing, man? Fucker. If you were something better, you
Mediocre
would
is
have
not
said
the
yeah.
term for what we are, Shiv. At least for what I
It's
am.
fine. So
Mediocre
we
is not
start
the
with the
term.
humble beginning and then we shape up the story, right?
You should
Okay.
say something worse than mediocre, bro.
So what happened normally, like, so I landed in Dubai. The whole, let's say I was doing, so I basically came here because of my masters. Okay. So I come to Dubai because of my masters, and then over time, it's not like I have any, what do you call them? The headmaster or whatever, they have some certificates for that when you have a lot of, when you get a very good score, it's called something. I mean, the professor, the highest level stuff, they award you something.
Honor roll.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
So never had that. Never did something awesome in any subject to get the recognition. So that was a very fucked up part for me. So even in terms of the colleges where you have a placement kind of stuff where you have to do internship and then you get a
It's
role.
called campus placement or something where the
Yeah,
companies come to
yeah.
your
So yeah,
campus to hire you or
so
something
something
like that.
similar. The internship part comes in, and then you need to have X amount of X grade, to qualify for that kind of stuff, which never happened. So anyways, I was going with the flow. Now the interesting part is that you have a capstone project, which they call it, like a project which you have to do along with your studies at the end of the course when it ends.
What's it called?
Capstone project.
Capstone
Okay.
project.
So when that happened, okay, I had an idea which I was working on around, how to use voice technology in retail. That was the concept. So that is how the whole project began. And then for that, you need to speak to a couple of industry experts. Okay, that was the term, industry experts, whom you need to meet to validate your project. So when that happened, I already was working on this idea. I mean, this whole project. So I was like, okay, how do I approach this piece? How do I get industry experts? I don't know anyone over here. I don't know how to even start. So I went to Dubai Mall's website. Okay. I was like, let's see the retail category over here. Because Dubai Mall might have every fucking store. That's what we know, right? So I went there, went to the directory of the Dubai Mall website. I started searching from A until Z, whatever was there. I saw the company name. I went on LinkedIn. I put the company name. Saw someone who's worked there for I don't know 10, 15, 20 years, and just started sending them those invites, like to connect. And I did it for like multiple companies. There's a massive list. I've shooted my shot everywhere. So there's one guy whom I got connected to, and his name is like Shaheen. Okay, so Shaheen connected with me, and he was pretty chill about connecting. And he was like, yeah, I pitched him the whole the copy you copy paste the same message to everyone. I did that. I was like, this is my capstone project. I'm working on it. Now when I look back, I'm like, shit, this is so cringe. But I was like, fine. I mean,
So the
yeah,
fact that you went to the Dubai Mall website, went from A to Z, and you just you just said, okay, I'm gonna leverage social media here, and you
yeah,
said I'm gonna just send the invite to everyone. And then
yeah.
Shaheen, which company was he from?
He's Samsonite.
Yeah, so he was from Samsonite, and Samsonite is not a small company. For
You get
anybody
to
who doesn't know
realize
Samsonite,
that that's A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
yeah,
until
S is like
F, bro.
almost I don't even know what what number it comes in. Right? And no, Samsonite basically is your luggage company. I
Yes,
think it's more. It's more, but it's your premium luggage wear, right?
yes,
So yeah, the fact that you got into that through this. Okay, so talk me through now that
yes. So,
Shaheen
so,
got
so,
your this thing and he accepted. What happened then?
so after the invite got accepted, then I pitched that message, common message, copy paste. I'm doing this project. Can you give me some insights I need for my project? He agreed to it. It was during Ramadan. Okay, we decided to meet in Mall of Emirates. Okay,
Nice.
so I went to Mall of Emirates. It was like half an hour until like the time we decided. It was a half past that time.
Okay.
So I was like, fuck, I got scammed. I mean, he's not gonna come. I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. But I stayed there, and then eventually he called. We met on that. We met at the place, and he was fasting. Okay, he was fasting in Ramadan time. I
So
was
you
like,
eventually met up in the same day.
not the same day. It took almost a week to meet him because he
No,
was
I mean that
traveling.
he said he was late by 30 minutes. So
Yeah, so in Mall of Emirates, he was 30 minutes late at the time we decided to meet.
so
Okay,
what made you stay for 30 minutes?
dude, I didn't have an option.
Okay.
I needed something. I was like, I texted him, and eventually he replied after half an hour, and then he was already there. So we went, sat in the cafe, and so we started talking. Okay, and then the whole criteria was I need to have like my phone should record his voice as a proof that I sat with him and it actually happened. It was a bit creepy. I was like, I don't know. I said him, this is
Before
the
you say the
requirement.
story, does Shaheen know that you did this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had to take his approval, right? So I mean, I was
Okay.
like, sitting here, this is a criteria, university asked me to do it, and I have to record. Is it fine? He's like, yeah, that's fine. So I was like, okay. Then I started recording. I pitched him the whole idea which I was building on. So while I was pitching it to him, right? So there was a moment I didn't know that will turn things around where he was listening to it. He got impressed and he was like he basically his hand went at the back of his this thing. He wanted to remove his wallet. He removed his wallet. He removed a card, okay, his business card. He flipped it. So at the front part you can see his name, okay, Shaheen, and he's the head of like the this whole region and everybody is the head of that. Like he's the extreme, the biggest person of this whole GCC and the MENA part. He's the head of that. He
Hmm.
flipped that card. It had Samsonite, American Tourister, Chameleon. There's something. There's a brand called Chameleon as well, and then there's to me they have luxury brand. There's 6 brands over there. I didn't know. I just know American Tourister and Samsonite. I didn't know any one of those. So he flipped that and he said, this is all the brands we have. I want you to work on this specific brand. I'm like, what the fuck is happening, man? So he said that there's this one brand we have over here, which is mainly for kids. It's a school backpack,
Okay.
and we'll offer you the visa. We'll do whatever it takes, and I want you to work on this. It just flipped, bro. I didn't expect anything. I don't know if I should check the voice recording, but yeah, when the moment happened, right, it was like cinematic appeal. He removed his wallet, flipped the card, showed me the brands, and he's like, "This is the one I want you to work for. I can sponsor everything." I was like, "Fuck." So the I was a bit of a kiddish part in me was there, right? So I was like, "Can you write it on the letter, where you'll sign?" Because I was like, I need to like, show the university that I got this. Just verbal won't count. I asked him that, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." So he took that, I need to have a formal letter where he signs that he's been with me. He took that. He wrote a whole paragraph. I'm really impressed by meeting, Shivank. And it's really it'll be really exciting to work with him and blah blah blah. That's the whole paragraph he wrote with his signature, bro. I was
So,
like, fuck,
so
I went for something else. I got something else, knowing that I would have not got an internship otherwise the university. I got it like before the placement started. 2 months before that, I already had this internship part in hand. So I told him, the fact I told him, what, I can't get a full time job right now. I need to do internship. He's like, that's fine.
he's like,
I,
"Papa, the fact
I
I gave
fucked
you an
myself
internship."
over, bro. I fucked myself. I told him, no, actually, I need internship. I don't need a proper job right now. I don't know. But yeah.
No, but see that now, just decoding that, right? He was so impressed with you, but do you think he was impressed because of the mindset you had or because of the project that you were presenting to him?
So it was a bit of both. The way I was talking, the questions I was asking him, the idea which
Okay.
I
So
pitched,
so the project was given to you by the university or you came up with it?
I came up with it. Everything is on my own. I got this whole idea. And the fact is that I pitched a different idea, but
Mm-hmm.
the thing he offered me was completely different stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So that's how I got this, the internship came into picture. I got this like out of the blue just because I went through the whole list of A to Z DM people, and then I met him, pitched him that, make sure I asked questions. I asked him question about the brand he was telling me as well, and then that was the first part. That's the phase one of how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Now what happened after that is that I got the internship. I joined over there. So when I look back, I realized I did something extra as well. So normally the internship was for 3 months. I stayed there. I observed the whole setup, and he was traveling all the time. Like, every week he used to travel somewhere, like, because he was building the business, right? So he wasn't there as much in the office. But whatever time he was there, we used to absorb how he's interacting with people, how is he calling his employees, how he, because the his meeting room wasn't voice proof, okay? So I can listen to a lot of stuff as well, what he's talking, what he's got. And I was close to his room,
Yeah.
so I absorbed everything from there. And when I used to get moments like, let's say, if there used to be a food court, okay,
Mm.
sometimes, rarely, once or twice in the 3 months, we used to go in the food court, and there are times when it's only me and him.
Mm.
So I used to ask him a lot of questions in a sense of, not like a general stuff like what are you watching, what is the TV show, blah blah blah. It was actually about, let's say, what, I saw him talking to X person, like X employee, and he was the head over there. So I used to observe that, and I used to ask him question like, you did it in X way. What made you do that? Those kind of curious question of how he's handling people, like in certain parts of the business as well. I used
Yeah.
to observe certain stuff and used to suggest, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? So that young energy, right? These guys actually like it. So I was like, I used to give him that. I used to so many ideas. I used to think, I used to research and come back to him. I used to forward him stuff which I see online. So for him, he understands that I'm motivated, right? I built that stuff. That's how it developed. Now at the end of the internship, I need to get a full time job as well, and they didn't have any openings for me. I requested him. He said he also didn't have anything to give me at that time as well. So normally in anybody's mind, right, they'll just leave and be like, what, fuck it, didn't get anybody. I just keep try outside and just leave, right? I was still doing that, but there's something I did. Okay,
Mm.
what I did was the internship was getting over.
Mm.
I tried somewhere else and I was going over there. The last day, right, I wrote a letter, like a handwritten letter telling exactly, like, this letter is written to him telling exactly what I've learned from him, what I admire about him, and what are stuff I think could have been better, or something of the sort. Like, it's a very honest letter,
Okay.
plus minus, and what I've got out of this. I
Okay.
just wrote that, bro. So when I wrote that, right,
Mm-hmm.
I actually got a chocolate as well, put in the envelope. I went in his room and I gave it to him and said, don't open in front of me. When I'm gone, just read that. Okay.
Put some nice cinema shit there.
So I did it like out of, like, I genuinely felt this is the first time I've actually sat at a place for 3 months. I actually been around the people. And it's not just him. Okay, I gave it to like two more people as well whom I used to work with.
Okay.
Now you'll understand the difference of people, okay? Because other ones never reached out to me later in life. Maybe once or twice for some work related stuff, to know something of the sort. But when I wrote this letter, right, bro, the way the dynamics flipped, because when he read that, right, I think he got way more attached. It's like a mentor to me now.
Yeah.
So I think, like, he was, so imagine the fact that he saw the LinkedIn, okay, the message. I also sent the same message to one more lady who was the head of marketing. She
Mm-hmm.
never replied to me back, but this guy replied. So when I look back, he was already open minded for everything, like he was already open minded. Now when this happened, right, and it's out of genuine, that the genuine feeling was there. This letter flipped it, and then he naturally started like telling me a lot of stuff, and we started, he's even calling me, and when I have to change companies, I used to ask him, should I change? He's advising me on stuff. So that flipped the whole game. So there's one point I asked him as well that, why do you even listen to me? Like, what is there? Like, I'm really curious why people actually listen to me, right? So he mentioned that the older you grow, right, you have to listen to people who are younger than you, and the younger you are, you have to listen to people who are older than you.
Mhm.
So I was like, that's like a
That's nice.
that's like a core message which was there. So the reason why he used to be so open is he on his LinkedIn he accepts everyone, okay, just to get an idea of what the young guys are listening, because he says that you get saturated. It's like a peak you've reached, right, and you need that young flow. This is the reason. And now I know I'll apply it for my life. I'm still applying it. I'm somewhat in the middle right now, so I go up and down both. But yeah, that's the model. That's basically how I met him, how this whole bond happened, and how this whole thing positioned itself across time. So that's the story about how the internship happened.
So now that in itself is an interesting story, right? Because I would never fucking open LinkedIn, bro. I would never do that shit, right?
Yeah.
now, now the thing is, two questions which should be interesting for the people that are listening to this. One is what are the few things you think you did differently in the internship? You said you observed things and all that, but something like that along the lines, what else do you think you did? That's one.
Mhm.
And two, what do you think this internship gave you in terms of confidence and in terms of perspective that you think, okay, you know what, this will help me a bit. I mean, if I have to rephrase it in a better way, this will help me make it in Dubai in a better way,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
did you, two things. So, what did you notice? Like, what did you do different from a normal guy in an internship with that fire you have, the entrepreneur fire, right?
yeah.
And two, how do you think that helped you make it in Dubai, or
Okay.
at least put you in the path to make
Yeah,
it in Dubai?
yeah. So what happened? When I was working over there, right? I used to talk to Shaheen in a way that I'm talking to you. I was honest. I was brutal about whatever I saw. Okay. So even when I'm sitting in a room of all the employees sitting over there as well, who are way older than me, I'm talking about guys who are 35, 40-year old. Okay. And it
Hmm.
was a very dry environment, like it's very oldie environment. In that environment, I used to tell him whatever about business, okay, business or life, whatever I used to feel it, I used to say it on the face. So there's two sides to it, okay. The first part is that when I spoke to him that way, like I'm giving him a real side picture of what's out there because no one else is telling him that. I was
True.
being honest. I had
Hmm.
nothing to lose because I was just being myself. So he actually appreciated the fact. But on the other side, the people who were in the room with me, the employees, right?
Yeah.
There's one guy who was driving me home back, one time, and he mentioned to me, what, can I tell you something? I was like, yeah, sure, man. He said that, when you talk to Shaheen, you don't know that, you're not respecting him as a, you have to understand that he's a boss. You can't just talk like a friend to him. So, so he was okay. In his mind, he was trying to advise me that understand this is a formal word and it works in X kind of way. And the
True.
way you're doing it will fuck you up in the longer run. Okay, that's what he meant. I was like, really? I was like, okay, I'll think about it. But I never changed because this is who I am. I feel very comfortable like this. Now, when I speak to him now, right, the only reason why I have the comfort with him and I have the kind of understanding with him, with none of these guys I now understand now, they never spoke to him the way I spoke to him. It's like I'm talking to you. I'll be like, Shine, you know what? What you're thinking is bullshit. And this is why. And when people are open minded, right, they'll take it and they'll actually, they'll back it up or they'll, ask you stuff. So that filters out. That
That
filters out.
and two, I think you also had the content and the smartness to back it up.
So that's the thing. I didn't have the content.
Mm.
That's what I'm telling you. What he was doing is, let's say, merchandising and stuff. I didn't know merchandising like nothing. I knew SEO. I knew, let's say, digital marketing part. He was not involved in any of that. That used to be outsourced to India. So the whole point of me observing and telling him things was based on my observation, purely my observation. The way he's telling something, let's say, about a product, or the way he's, something, anything, any random thing which I see,
True.
and as a normal guy who's just graduated from university, I'll try to think from the perspective of the buyer. If I am the buyer, this is what it's like. So these guys, when they get into the company like a lot, let's say you spend 20 years in the company, right? Your
Okay.
mind gets developed around the company, and you know the product so well, so your mind thinks in a different way because you know the product in and out. So you the way you think is very different. But outsider comes in, okay, and gives you a perspective. Even if it's a young guy, it's a perspective, and it's outsider perspective, and it's really appreciated, by anybody who has an open mind. Is what I understood. Okay, so there's one part. There's a quote which says that an outsider is what it takes to flip the whole game in any organization. Because certain times the organization doesn't have that kind of perspective, but you bring that in and you voice it out. Voicing is the part. Because I could have not voiced it out. I could have been like any other guy and be like, what, fuck, he's the head over here. He can just fuck me up. But I never had that thought. Because I was like, what? It is what it is. That is first part, okay? The when you're talking about this. The second part is the entrepreneurship part and the whole mindset part coming in, right? It didn't happen. It doesn't happen in internship. I don't believe because I was too young back then and there was no guidance. I didn't have a podcast like Make It in the By to see and understand and try to do something around. Which is the whole point of doing this, okay?
Hashtag advertisement.
Exactly. So there was no one to guide on that part. This shaped up over time. That internship was just to give me like a contact and the whole letter part and everything was all authentic.
No, but see, but I think if you ask me, I would
Yeah.
say that internship gave you the confidence to take on anyone in Dubai after that because now you yourself found a job in Dubai or
Mhm.
internship in Dubai and you nailed it. So I think that must have given you some sort of confidence.
No, so what happens is when I speak in X way, right? I mentioned to you now that I know now that I was right. I was talking in the right way. Back then, if you have a person who's older than you and is advising you the way talking to the boss is not the right way, you feel 50-50 about what you're doing. So this
No,
is
no,
why.
I'm saying looking back now, I meant like if you think about it, would you say that that job gave you a confidence to push yourself a bit more?
Of course, yeah. I mean, any bit helps. The difference is that the two kind of internships is what I think I've got into. One is the one you don't learn jack shit in terms of the skill, but you learn everything else. This was that kind of internship.
Mm.
Okay, I got hired. I mean, I got hired for all that kind of stuff, project and stuff, but the company was so slow. In 3 months, nothing moved. That happens in big companies. That happens a lot because there's so many alignments to do, there's so many calls to make, there's so many stuff to do. By the time I'm in my last day of the internship, they're like, "How much it move?" Like just a bit. So that's something you want to take. Okay, that's something which is a bit different. We can talk about it in a different angle. But for me, what shaped up is after this, right? The transition was I wasn't getting a job, and it was very tough in terms of finding a job for me over here. This market sucks in that sense, at least from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started applying, I wanted a full time job, but I wasn't getting that. Okay, I was trying and trying. There's another opportunity which was again an internship, and that was Unilever. So it was the last day. The application was closing. It was the last day I applied for it. So and I got the in 2 days there's a psychometric test. I did that in 2 days.
Yeah.
I got a rejection letter. Okay, I got a rejection email, bro. I was like, fuck, it's not working out. But the next day I get an email from the HR of the company, and they're like, you know what, there's an interview scheduled for you. I was like, some glitch has happened. I somehow has got I was like 50-50. I said I thought they mixed up my name. Okay,
Okay.
I don't know what is the glitch over there, but I have an email saying that I'm rejected. But the HR the other way they called me. I was like, you know what? Let's use this glitch. I'll go there and then I'll convert this. I went with that attitude. I went there. It's my name on that list as well, like in the guest list. I went there. The guy who took the interview is the guy who defined my the second phase of my the Dubai life, and he shaped up a lot of things for me. Like the mindset I have is from that guy. And what happened? I went for the interview. I actually spoke to him same way. So what the advantage of Samsonite was? Brutally honest, on point. This is what it is. I told him I don't want internship. I want an actual job. This is I'm putting you up front. Everything is crystal clear. You know why I got hired? I
Mm.
didn't get hired for his attitude. I got hired because I had a YouTube channel. Would you believe it, bro? Because my whole so what happens? The channel I had, the name was Bakchur Londa. Okay,
Mm.
so the name is very different.
Okay.
So I have got rejected in multiple interviews because I had the channel name, and
True.
this is the one which this guy liked, and it is something he enjoyed. He actually went on Google and searched for it. He was like, you know what? let's do this shit because social media and that kind of stuff. I got in, okay. I got in there after the whole internship. I realized something. I realized internship is a long term game. I'll tell you why. Internship, you're paid the bare minimum. So after the whole university placements happened, a lot of people are getting higher internship. The basic pay they get was way higher than me. I was getting paid like a lot lower in that sense. But what happened is that the amount of information and skill I learned, right? Because when these guys hire you for cheap, they make you work like a dog.
Hmm.
There are two ways of looking at it. You get like you mentally fucked, you don't get enough space to do whatever you want. But then now when I look back, right, within that 1 year of time, I learned like 3 years of stuff. Because I was like that. I wanted to learn. Okay. I didn't know back then there's something called long term game. I was like, man, what the fuck is happening? Okay, I got this work, I'll just do it. But what happened is that internships will always be paid less. But there are two parts which I derived from there. One learning I got was from another guy within Unilever. He mentioned to me Shivank, and he is basically from Zimbabwe. Okay, this is a different cultural experience.
True.
He was like, dude, when you come here, right? Let's say this is a block. Okay, let's say this is a block you have to hold. I'll ask you to pick from here and drop it there. You'll keep doing, and then I'll ask you from bring it from there, bring it here. You'll keep doing it every day. What you need to do is pause for a second. Whoever is asking you to pick the block and keep it there, you ask that guy, why the fuck do I need to pick that block? So once you figure out why you're picking this block, why you're keeping it there, why you bring it back, you'll find better ways not to pick the block.
Hmm.
That flipped the game, bro. That's what I'm saying. There's a phase two, right? That flipped the game for me. I
So
started
basically,
questioning
the
everything.
question why flip the game?
Yes. So what do you mean?
Like, why am I doing this? Question that, and then that flip.
Correct. So it wasn't the curiosity wasn't there as much because then you're very young and you don't know. You're just doing what people are saying, right? But when he said that, right, I made sure I ask why I'm doing this. I made sure I think of a creative way to make sure I don't have to do this. Or even if I have to do, how can I, do it in a better way? The moment I understood this, that is how gaps started coming in. And I started finding gaps. So when
Hmm.
they all say, right, try to find gaps and fill those gaps, everybody says it in like in a very different world. You listen to it and be like, wow, and you don't know how to find a gap, man. Tell me how to find the fucking gap.
True.
This guy flipped the game for me. I understood the game, and this was the game. After that moment, until today, same attitude. I've been trying to question that why. Every time I did something, sometimes I found something small, sometimes something big, and eventually the whole mindset got in. This whole entrepreneurship as well is from that mindset because I
Hmm.
know okay, there's a gap. The bigger the gap is, the more my chances to become an entrepreneur, get a stake in the business, and try to grow everything. So
True.
yeah, that's the nugget over there.
That's the internship life of Mr. Shivank, huh?
Yes.
That's pretty interesting, man. Because now, if I have to compare that with my internship life, right? It's completely different, bro. So I did my internship because I was like, I understood this was, how old was I? I was almost 18, 19, 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 18, 19. And Dubai as well. So I was trying to do my university here. And I was
You
like,
had a legal age, yeah.
what?
Legal age to do a lot of stuff. You had
Teenage?
legal age to do a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I was legal as well. So that's why people hired me. No, but the thing here is, at that time, I don't know how strict the rules were about students working and stuff, but I think I did some shady shit and then, still got the job. But the thing is, I applied for a sales job
Mm-hmm.
because I heard that, they say sales will improve you as a person, this and that. And at that time, I didn't know how to sell. I was not who I am now, right? At that time, if you asked me to sell me a water bottle, I was literally like one of those guys who take the water bottle and I'm like, this is a black water bottle, this is sugar water, and the zipper here is you can keep sucking it, that kind of stuff. But that's how I used to sell.
But then you're a kid selling it that way, right? People might still buy because
No, no,
they're
no.
a kid.
True. But the difference is, I'm just telling you, at that time, that's how I sold my stuff. So if I have to interview someone right now for a sales job and they come and sell some shit to me like this, I tell them to fuck off from the room immediately, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, at that point, when I applied for that internship, the sole reason for me applying for a sales job is just to see how brutal it is. And another reason I applied to the worst job you can get. I didn't look for like your corporate experience. No, I wanted to work in a retail store because that's when you actually understand the brutality of sales. How are they doing it? What's the desperation behind it? Is it family pressure? This, I just want to understand how the adult life works, how adulting works, because I was so curious about adulting, right?
Okay.
And I think my mom's gonna beat the shit out of me for me saying this, but see, I did not get good grades in grade 12. Some would say I passed, some would say I failed, right? It's in the borderline of stuff. So I had to struggle my way through university. So that changed my life. That showed me that education is not everything, but it's you who can determine your own life. That showed me that.
Mm.
So yeah, so I with the same mentality, I said, okay, I'm gonna go get into this sales job, which is the worst job I can get in Ibn Battuta, in this place called Giant, right? So I said, let's go try it. So I had to go sell medical equipments. Now, in the interview, they asked me to sell a water bottle, and that's exactly how I sold the water bottle. It's a red water bottle. This will give you minerals. You drink this, you become the strongest man on the fucking planet, strongest woman on the fucking planet. And they were like, yeah. I don't think they're like, what, just give this guy the job. If he makes it, he makes it. I worked there for a month, and man, that was brutal, bro. I had to stand there, and they treat you like shit if you're working in a retail store. Like, if my job was just to sell the medical equipments, they don't just tell you to do that. They tell you go pick that up, go pick this up, go clean this floor, go arrange the shelf there, and all that. And I'm like, man, that's not my job. But because I'm one of them,
Yeah.
they say, you know what? Fuck you. Do that. Now, they didn't know my background. They didn't know anything. They didn't know this guy is here just for a month. They just thought I'm one of those kids who's here who's desperate as fuck for this, which I was, but not for the money, but for the knowledge, right?
Mm.
So in that internship, what I learned was how people work, how adulting is, what are the problems adults go through, what do people look for in that level. Now, I've always been in a mindset that I have to start my own company, right? Now, now it's changed because of entrepreneurship, but what I've always wanted to do is lead people. So if I have to lead people, I need to be empathetic. Now, how can I be empathetic if I don't understand what people go through and the pain of it? So one of my partners, she was a Filipino lady, and when we were selling, this was my second day, by the way, right? We were selling stuff, and she wasn't there for a long time. Now someone came and asked me where she was, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to snitch because they told me snitches end up in ditches, so I'm never going to snitch." So I was like, "I don't know where she is." And then I found her. I found where she was, and she was crying. I was like, "What's going on? Why are you crying?" She's like, "Oh, it's my daughter's graduation, and my mom just slipped and fell down and broke her hip or something, and I can't go for both. What is the meaning of all this if I can't do this and that?" I said, "Okay, you know what? Give me your product. Let me sell mine and yours. Whatever commission you make is yours." She's like, "No, I can't ask you to do that." I said, "No, that's fine." Now, I might have been a dumb fuck, or I might have been extremely nice. We don't know that, right? But the thing is, it helped her. I did what I can do, but it also taught me a valuable lesson that adulting is not easy. You have to see a lot of different stuff people go through. Now, you can't just expect someone to work no matter what kind of mental state they're in, especially if it's a woman who's the breadwinner of the family. She's going through a lot. So I said, okay, now this is a valuable lesson I've learned in the internship. Now, the reason why I'm saying the story of how internship helps you make in Dubai, it actually, you know what? Internship helps you make it anywhere. It's not just in Dubai. But it can actually help you make it in Dubai a bit better if you understand what kind of people come to work in Dubai. What do they go through? What is their mental state? What are they expecting out of life? If you understand that, you would understand how easy it is for you to go in an organization to win. Because I know in the previous episode I said you have to be a cunt and you have to leverage the right person to reach the top, but that is true. But what you have to understand is you need to have the people on your side. If you don't have the people on your side, there's no point of anything. If you go look at my LinkedIn now, it literally says if you have the right people, no matter what mistakes you make, they'll take care of
That's
you.
your
Right?
bio? Like that's
That's
and
that's been there since 2018, 19, I guess.
and you still got jobs, yeah?
Yeah, I still got a job after that because I was always in that mindset, right? That I am going to lead people no matter what. So yeah, so I got that. Like that internship taught me that that my thought process is right. Actually, no, that internship is what taught me that people matter. It's not
Mm.
about the job. It's not about what you learn. It's about how can you make sure that the people align with you. Because once the people align with you, they'll automatically push you up. They'll say, you know what, you are the guiding star we've been looking at. You know the scene from Batman where I told you where he takes the red candle and he's the one leading the people.
Yeah.
It gave me that experience. That's when I learned how important it is to be that character in an organization, no matter where it is. The whole entrepreneurship is actually revolved around it, because entrepreneur is basically having people behind you to support your idea for you to make it. So yeah, this is something what I learned in my internship. Like I said, it's a very different internship.
So if you have to give advice to someone listening to this, would you advise someone to go through the internship you've been to, or you suggest like, nah, it's not that
See,
mean?
for someone listening to our podcast, one, you're lucky fuck because you got the experience from Shiv and me. But two, to be honest, I would say go through it. Go through what Shiv went through and go through what I went through. If you can do both of that in one job, even better. But go through it. Because if you want to become one of the best leaders out there, right? Entrepreneurs, no matter what you want to become, at the end of the day, they're leaders. If you want to become the best leader out there, you have to go through shit. You have to eat shit. The more shit you eat early in your life, the better it is for you. Because then you understand the kind of shit that people go through and how you can solve it. Now, if when people talk to me, they think at least I'm 30, 35, right? I don't want to reveal my age right now because I'm sick and
You
tired of
look 40, by the way.
and I act 10, I know. But the thing is, because I've seen and I put myself in so much situations, and I made sure that I mature myself early as possible, because then the more you mature yourself, the more you understand how the game works, like you said, and the more you understand how the world works.
What about the point people say that you miss out a lot of partying and a lot of
See, you can always party, man. It's not like I'm not asking you to work like 24/7. No. If you work yourself for 5 6 days, and you have your weekends. Go do it, but you have to feel like you earned that
Yeah,
party.
but this is not like some daddy's shop, right? You need to, let's say, if you sign up for something, you need to go for 6 days a week, or I don't know, 5 days a week.
No,
That's
no,
the
no. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Now, when you go for internship, it's not like you're going for internship for 2 3 years. No, it's going to be a 5 6 month experience anyway.
Hmm.
So if you can bite the bullet for 6 months and just go through that, that'll make you a man. Because right now, let's say you are a 22 or 23-year-old graduating from your university and you have to go work, you would be more of a man than a guy who has no experience and just comes and sits next to you and he has no fucking idea what he wants to do. But you, on the other hand, is fucking ready to kill the world. Like
Bro,
Dana White
there's
said.
one point I don't understand about your whole story, right? I don't understand one part where normally when people study in university, they want to go for a proper white collar job. Like, like you actually want to go for something which is like the skill part is a different angle. So you mentioned that there's a shady angle to it, which we can, if you want, you can explore a bit more. But I want to know your understanding of, you said that you actually wanted to understand the mature world, the adult world part, right? So what brought you to that mindset first? And then since you were in Dubai and your environment should be something which pushed you towards it, then how this thought started to come in, and why did you choose a sales job in your own? Like, why that specific in retail? How did you choose it
So,
specific?
so sales, I chose it for myself because I wanted to see what sales is really like. Is it actually that easy or is it actually hard? Is it actually brutal like they say? So I wanted to test that out. Now, why did I choose to work as a representative in a supermarket or Giant or hypermarket is because I understood Dubai is an expatriate market. I had that knowledge at that time. Everyone who works in Dubai comes in as an employee. Now what I didn't understand was why. Why did they come and start their own business? Or why are they coming as an employee? Why are they not questioning that, like you said, why are they not questioning what they're doing? Why are they not asking the question why? So I said, okay, I wanted to explore this mindset. Now, I can't sit from a ivory tower and be like, yeah, this person's doing this because of that. No. Unless I go through that shit, I will not understand what it really means. So I said, okay, let me put myself in that process. Let me actually see what the thought process of people there are like. So I will know one day, and I was always sure of this, that one day I am going to lead people. So when I do that, if someone comes to me and says something, I know the pain of it. And at the same time, if someone comes and fucks around with me, I can also see that because I've been one of them.
Hmm.
It gives you that perspective. So that perspective is something which I wanted. Lucky for me, I got it early. It was just there. To be very honest, now I'm thinking back, I did not have this much clarity, but all I wanted to know was, okay, how to do sales, and I wanted to understand adulting. That's it. In
Okay.
my mind, I was like, this is going to help me somewhere in the future. But
Did, they,
now,
did, did these guys also train you for any sales part, or you were just your
nothing,
own self?
nothing. They just told me what the
Yeah,
product
that's the
does.
fucked up part, right? Because when you sign up for it, ideally there's supposed to be someone who coaches you for that kind of stuff.
But that's the thing, right? So because they didn't coach me, I also understood what I shouldn't do if I was a sales head one day. If
Hmm.
I was a sales head, now I knew that okay, I'm going to make sure this person is trained as hard as possible in every single scenario and stuff. I learned a lot of what not to do, what to do as well.
This is a gap as well, bro.
This is a gap, I know.
The gap fucking teaching all these sales guys, just like, I don't know, charge some small amount of money and you know what will improve your, because ultimately the business is getting affected, right? I don't know. This is like sounds like a interesting opportunity if it's still not fixed.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Now, my company, we are not hiring interns yet, but if we hire them, then we can see, we can ask them. Or we can just go to university and ask them as well. Like, I always told you, right?
Or
One of
you
the
can
things,
just go to the supermarket and ask that chap, sell me this pen. I don't know, something of a sort, just to see how much is the gap.
Vignesh Belfort, huh? No, but the point is, yeah, for all the university kids watching, if you reach this point at 40 minutes, good for you. You did the right thing. Do it. It'll seem hard. It'll seem like you can't party, but go fucking do it. Trust me, it'll mature you at least 5 6 years ahead of your competitor, and that will change the game when you work in a company because even if you have a 35, 40, 55-year old reporting to you, they will not feel weird. You would not feel weird as well because they both the age group respects you for who you are and your mentality, not because of your age. So if you want to change the game as someone young, become mature. See how they're doing it. Keep your reality as well. Like be like Shiv. He says I'm an honest guy. This is what I will fucking do. Then do that. But at the same time, mature yourself because trust me, that'll change the game. That's my golden nugget from this episode.
Says a 80-year-old fuck.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
So yeah, I think we've covered majority of the stuff we
Yeah,
had
I
to
think it was a nice episode. Hopefully, you guys liked what we said, and if you did, do what you have to do.
Exactly. Otherwise, that's the nice way of saying it. Next time we'll say do what you have to do, and
Yes.
it's pretty. I think everybody when it says the like, share, subscribe, blah blah blah. I think we just need to say do what you do. That's it. Like let
Yeah,
others
that's
do the
what you
work
have
of.
to do. If you like us. If you want to subscribe, so if you don't, who gives a fuck? We're not doing this for money or anything. We're just doing this so one, we can meet like-minded people, and two, people actually, like I said, like any of you DC fans here, if you watched, I was just saying this to Shiv as well. If you watched the shitty Justice League version, not the Snyder version, you would understand that Batman says just save one. That's all it matters. Just save one, and that's all I'm trying to do here. That's what Shiv's trying to do here. We're just trying to
Nah,
save.
I don't know the DC, MC, BC, I don't
And
know.
fuck you.
What can we word for?
Okay, guys. Ciao. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you.